David, it makes sense. We know this when someone goes missing. The first person you look at is the person closest to them. If it's a man, it's the wife. If it's a woman, it's the husband. Not surprising that they're the prime suspects.
Dangerous, though. That is very dangerous, because I was running a major crimes unit, homicide investigations too, and the worst possible thing that could happen in any investigation is a bias. And then confirmation bias sets in. And then everybody looks at the evidence and it fits into the theory of the case. And that is how mistakes get made. You know, so that's one point that I have to make. And the second one, immediately I think of, why in the world do people continue to give statements? They continue to open their mouths when they have their constitutional right to remain silent. It is rule number 1 in criminal defense. And these criminals, these defendants, they believe they could out-talk their way out of these interrogations with detectives. And then we get their Google searches, and then we get their cell towers, and then we get the surveillance videos, and we're seeing it in the Koberger case, all the technology that could be used by law enforcement to support these things. And then when they lie, they get confronted, and it just works out for prosecutors in that way. So it's just amazing to me why defendants continue to open their mouths in light of their constitutional rights.
Yeah, opening their mouth is one thing. The digital footprint is another. It's the new DNA. It's what prosecutors use to get convictions in these cases. We're seeing that going on here with Brian Walsh. Now, though, there could be some direct evidence with that blood found in the basement, blood found on a broken knife, Lexi. The only thing I can think of that they're waiting for is to match that blood possibly somehow to his wife. That's the only thing I can think. I mean, I've seen less evidence get convictions in murder cases than they have against this guy. That's the only thing that must be holding things up.
Right, and at least they have him in custody, and he has a very high bail amount, because we're literally just counting down the seconds until this guy is charged with murder. I mean, they pretty much have everything. She never made it to where she was going to be. They found blood and a knife. He's buying cleaning supplies. He's Googling how to get rid of a 115-pound body. I mean, after all the years that we've had the internet and all of the investigations that have used internet searches, why do these stupid criminals keep Googling their crimes? The same thing with the Jensen case. I mean, he Googled the antifreeze. So it makes no sense to me, but I think Dave is right. They really think they're smarter than the police. They can outsmart the police. And this is a guy that has an interesting criminal past, passing off the fake Andy Warhols. I mean, this person clearly thinks that he's smarter than the average guy, and probably really didn't think he'd be caught.
Yeah, at some point,
or suspected at least.
You know, at some point, David, I got to think that it's not even about smarts as much as it is. There must be some psychological issue, some narcissism involved, to think that all these things. He was seen, he told them he went one place, a CVS or whatever, but video showed that he was in a Home Depot buying $450 of cleaning supplies, including drop cloths, et cetera, rope. He was buying tape. I mean, at some point, you got to realize this plan is going to be felled by, you got to see it time and time again, all the technology that we know exists. You're doing searches on your own computer. Isn't there some way you can find some other way to do the search? Go to a library or something? I mean, if you really want, I think it's narcissism.
How about the search, how to dispose of a 115-pound woman's body when his wife was 115 pounds? I mean, put that right into the affidavit, go right to the judge and get the warrant, right? Because we have seen less evidence to support convictions. And then you got the $450 Home Depot for cleaning supplies. Presumptive blood's all I need as a prosecutor to go forward on that charge. And I agree with you, Michael. We're going to be seeing that relatively soon.
Lexi, I want to talk about the Larry Millete case, because that's a case where I think of the three, the evidence against the defendant, Larry Millete, is probably the least of all the three. What prosecutors are really, at least as far as I'm concerned, seem to be relying on, and again, this is the information that we know that's public. They may be holding on to things that we don't know about, is that he didn't seem to be 100% forthcoming about his whereabouts on the day after his wife disappeared. And then he has a lot of emails and texts to spellcasters where he gradually got worse in what he was asking these spellcasters to do. First, he was asking for them to get rid of whatever lover or somebody else she might have had. Not even sure she had one. She wanted a divorce, but I don't know if it was because of a lover. Then he started to want things to happen to her. Let's break her legs so she can't leave me, blah, blah, blah. So in that case, that's the one that I'm looking at and saying, I think prosecutors may need a little more there. Yeah,
because I think everybody would know the heartbreak of somebody not wanting to be married to them or being broken up with, or the feelings of rejection. So that is something that could be spun by the defense as he was upset, he was heartbroken, but that doesn't mean that he actually did something to her, because that is a big leap. They've never found a body. I'm sure he's going to go with the thing that people seem to go with when there's a parent that disappears, that they needed a break, they wanted to get out of here, they weren't happy with their life, weren't happy with the kids, and they took off. I mean, that does not ring true, I think, to most people. And in this case, there's really nobody else that you could point to that would have an interest in doing this. But I agree that for beyond a reasonable doubt, the evidence that we know of now seems a little lacking.
Yeah, and David Bruno, the fact that there is no body, I don't see that really as an impediment anymore. With all the technology, it's hard to disappear off the face of the earth and not be, caught somewhere doing something by someone, especially these high-profile cases where people are constantly seeing the pictures of these folks. So not really a problem anymore that you don't have a body?
Well, I agree, but the circumstantial evidence needs to be strong. And like you said, in this day and age with this technology, and we're seeing it all throughout all of these cases, there really needs to be more than just a lie. And that's another dangerous thing that cops often make the mistake of, is that when somebody is not telling the truth, well, it doesn't necessarily mean that they're a murderer. They could be hiding something else. History has shown us that some of these lies are for minimal things, and really it's up in the head as to what consequences may be for other impropriety or immoral type actions, and then they lie and now they're murderer suspects, so they need more, especially without bodies. Circumstantial evidence needs to be strong.
Yeah, well, we're going to continue to follow all of these cases and continue to update our viewers on any developments at all. Barry Morphew, Larry Muerte, Brian Walsh as well. All right, guys, stand by. We are getting new details.